Hello and welcome to the Apache Junction Parks and Recreation, the commission meeting. So glad to see everyone out there. It is 6:10. We're going to start our meeting on April 2nd, 2025. I call to order this meeting, and please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, may I have roll call, please?
Yes. Frank Shaneback.
Here.
D.L. Kine is excused. Cheryl Bigelow. Felicia Madrid. Here. Judy Bory.
Here.
Heather Moeller.
Here. All right. Thank you very much. The commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. These include acceptance of the agenda and acceptance of minutes. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. May I have a motion for the approval acceptance of the agenda meetings?
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the March 5th, 2025 regular meeting.
Thank you. And may I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And may I have roll call?
Judy Bory.
Yes.
Frank Shaneback.
Yes.
D.L. Kine is excused. Felicia Madrid.
Yes.
Heather Moeller.
Yes.
And that motion passes.
Thank you. All right, commissioners, are there any activities that you participated since last we have seen each other?
Well, I went to the Itty Bitty Olympics. I was there for the long jump, but I think next year for the 2-year-olds, I'm going to requisition a box of firecrackers to get them started. 2-year-olds and the long jump don't somehow associate very well. It was really enjoyable, and another experience where there's families galore having a good time. I went to the Dino Days just to drop in and say hi. Same thing, I was astounded. I hadn't been there for a couple of years, and the number of people there was amazing, absolutely amazing. And so it was a good month. Got to see a couple good things.
I went to Itty Bitty Olympics with my little one. She participated. This was her last year that she was able to participate. So it was kind of bittersweet and, yeah, a little bit sad. And let's see. Oh, Girls on the Run. I am Josephine's running buddy for the 5K. So we did our practice, well, the whole group did their practice 5K last Thursday. So that was good. Yeah, wasn't too hot, thank goodness. And the girls did amazing, so, yeah.
And just movies and concerts in the park. They're always fun. And you guys do a great job of getting the talent there. So thanks.
I had a great time at the Multi-Gen Center for rock painting. I wouldn't say that I painted such great rocks, but it's part of it, and that's all that matters. It's fun. It's memories. Moving along, we're going to ask Liz for the presentation and update on projects and opportunities in parks and other service areas. And thanks for sharing.
Good evening, everybody. So Dave Butler, I am doing the parks report today for Dave. He gave a very detailed report a month ago about a lot of the projects that we have going on. Many of them are still in progress. So we really just wanted to share. So not a lot of updates other than that the pickleball designs are finalized. We've submitted that for permitting, and we'll be working on going out for bid or cooperative. We'll be looking at who our contractor will be next. So hopefully by next meeting, we'll be able to share with you a little bit more about our new timeline for pickleball courts, but we're ready to go, and we'll keep you posted on all of that. The other thing I just wanted to share, so we did have the Apache Junction Little League opening ceremonies this past weekend. And we just wanted to share a little bit of what our South team has been doing out at the Little League fields. So as you know from Dave's reports, we had all new fencing installed. the dugouts got new fencing, so looking really amazing out there. But our guys really went above and beyond. So one of the things that they installed, oh, there's our city manager, he got to throw out the first pitch. One of the neat things that they added, so they did a bunch of stenciling. So first of all, the grass is looking amazing, and it just really kudos to Josh Vega and his team. But they kind of went just a little above and beyond. They added some stenciling out at the fields. Spent a lot of time on Friday getting all that to work out, but painted some emblems on there for the kids. They really have just gone above and beyond at that facility, that as we were updating the site, adding some of the logoing and all of that for their season. So we're really proud of our Little League. They're a nonprofit organization running sports right now, and Josh and his team has done a great job. We hope to be bringing back to you a little bit more information, but we also just learned from Josh that the Little League fields just won a great award. So So they received the Fields of Excellence. They are Fields of Excellence winner for 2024. And it's Pioneer Athletics 2024 Fields of Excellence Award. We just got notified of that, so we'll be sharing a little bit later on that. They recognize amateur as well as professional fields all over, and so hopefully next meeting, we're waiting on the banner that's coming in, some other recognition pieces, but Dave will be able to share that a little bit more. But just a sneak peek on that, we're really proud of our South team. And because we have so many amazing speakers tonight, I'm keeping it short, and I will end my part of the presentation unless you have any park facility questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just say something really quick. I'm just entering into the records that Cheryl is present now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have a presentation, discussion, and update on upcoming events and activities from Jamie.
Good evening, Commission. I also am going to keep it short. We'll try. I didn't do a picture slideshow because we do have several presentations. But as many of you mentioned, we had some great events this past month. We had something every single weekend, but the last Saturday of the month we had 4 events. So we started with the grand opening, our opening day at Little League Fields, followed by we were at Blossom Rock's event, teaching kids how to fish. And I can't tell you that at the end of the day, my heart was just so happy. I got to be out there teaching kid after kid after kid. And I was really pleasantly surprised at how many parents were like, no, I don't, because I'd be like, do you want to do it? You want to cast? Do you want to put the worm on? And parents like, no, it's all you. And I'm like, you're right, I got this. So I loved that I got to be so involved with that. After that, we got to go to Dino Days. It's always amazing to see how many people dinosaurs will attract to one particular area, but we had counted about 1,500, and that's as many that we could count coming in from really one direction, because that park is really open, so it's kind of hard to tell. But we had a great new feature added to this year's event that I will let our other presenter share a little bit more about. And then in the evening, we had our senior prom, and I arrived just in time to see the king and queen crowned. And again, just left, went home, and I don't think my heart has been as happy in a long time to be able to see all of that come to fruition in just one day. So April is no different. We are packed full of events. You pick a Saturday, I will tell you what amazing event we have going on. But I'm going to tell you anyway. So April 5th, this next Saturday, is our Earth Day event. Remember, it is drastically changed from what it used to be. It will be hosted at Flatiron. And at the same time, we'll be harvesting the flowers from the focal point. The community can come, you guys can come, take some flowers, take some ladybugs, go home and make yourself a gardenscape in your backyard. April 12th, we have photos with the Easter Bunny, but this is not for your 2-legged kids, it's for your 4-legged kids. So you can go on up to Blossom Rock and go to the dog park, and the Easter Bunny will be up there. And he's big enough to take on the dogs, so I feel confident it'll be okay. And then April 19th is the Easter egg hunt. The Friday before that, we do have free pictures with the Easter Bunny for kiddos, but they do need to register. We're doing that at the Multi-Gen Center. But the next day is our Easter egg hunt, and I do want to just spend a little bit of time on that because we do have some changes. This event is one of our bigger signature family events hosted at Prospector Park. As all of you know, it has keep growing every year. We are putting out over 10,000 Easter eggs amongst all the different age groups. Because of the size of the age groups and also how many parents now attend their kids when they hunt, some of those younger age groups will go on 2 fields at a time. So the 2 and younger, instead of just being on field 1, we will be putting them on field 1 and field 2. So it is going to make our egg hunts a little bit longer, but generally they are all completed within 45 to 50 minutes. So at most, we're thinking it is going to add on another 10 to 15 minutes. So those younger age groups with the bigger crowds, 2 and younger, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, will be hunting on 2 fields at a time instead of trying to squeeze them all on 1. And I know some of you are very familiar with what I'm talking about.
That should
So-
get them on the field quicker, though.
Yes, yes. The other big change is parking. So we are not going to be allowing, or we're going to try to not to allow parking on Idaho and Lost Dutchman Boulevard. So those big shoulders that people tend to park on and then try to hoof it to the park to get to their egg hunt. There is no longer of a walk if they were parking from the corner of the road if they were to park from the rodeo grounds. So we are going to be signing and we're going to be trying to watch that area, and we are pushing people, once the lots within the park are full, they'll have to go to the rodeo grounds, and we are shuttling them on school buses to get to their egg hunts. So we're just trying to avoid putting people and kids on that busy road, especially this time of year. So that is a big change. So if you are coming to volunteer, Jared is your contact person, and you should be arriving at the park at least 15 minutes prior to when he needs you to be there. Unless it's 9 a.m., then you need to be at the park at 8:15. So you have time to park and get to your egg hunt. So, and then last but not least, in April, and maybe one of the most important events we do is our April Pools Day in conjunction with the fire department to prevent drowning, but to do education on swimming and drowning prevention. This year they do have a signature speaker coming out who was impacted by a child drowning. And so we're very fortunate to be able to have what they call an impact speaker to be able to come to the event. So again, we have lots of things to do. Again, we are always encouraged and encourage you guys to volunteer if you have the time, but we know that it's a lot to ask. So it's never expected, just always greatly, greatly appreciated.
Jamie, I didn't catch the date for April Fool's Day.
April 26th.
26, thanks.
I do want to also, I always tend to focus on special events because those are what are first and foremost. That's what we see mostly on social media. That's usually where you guys are headed to. But this summer, we are working on a couple of new special interest programs. We have some new art programs. We have a new art instructor coming on board. We have a new CPR and first aid certification course. And we are also able to offer a safety course on firearms. So those are a couple of new programs that we have to look forward to this summer, along with all of the other great stuff. Summer registration is open, so those folks who are interested in swim lessons, in summer camp, our art programs, registration is live right now. We did open swim lessons 2 weeks early just for AJ residents. That time has now lapsed, so they are open to everybody at this time. Our goal is to get everyone into at least one swim lesson. Most of the time, if they're diligent on registering, they get at least 2 during the summer. So this concludes my report on recreation. Are there any questions at this time?
I have one. For the firearm safety, is that some kind of like certificate or is that just knowledge?
It's knowledge. There's no arms training on site. They don't even have a site location, so I believe it is just information. Okay. But I could be wrong, so I can look into that. Any other questions?
All right.
Sounds like a loaded summer.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. Next, we have some old business. Going to update on invasive plant management from Elliot.
Good evening, Commission. Elliot Anuda, I'm Recreation Coordinator for Natural Resources and Outdoor Recreation. So very exciting that we are now pretty much coming up on a full year of us doing invasive plant work under the IPG grant that we were given last year. So this is just a little look at what we've done in the past 365 days. So I did just want to start with a reminder of the importance of healthy desert landscape. So you have two photos in front of you. The one with the check mark is what we strive to look like. You're going to see a lot of open spaces. And then the one with the X on it has a lot of buffalo grass on it. Buffalo grass is the main invasive plant that we are battling over at Silly Mountain. And you can see that buffalo grass connects a lot of different native vegetation to another piece of native vegetation. And what that does is it allows a fire to keep burning longer, hotter, brighter, and create more devastation that takes even longer for restoration to come back at all. So we're looking for what we're doing on the left, and right now a lot of our park spaces are what we see on the right. So we were awarded a grant from the Department of Forestry and Fire Management. It was for $193,500, and the city matched about $65,000. So we're working with about $250,000 over the next 3 years to try to manage invasive plants. I do really want to stress that we use the word manage when we're talking about invasives. There's no eradication. It's never going to happen, unfortunately, but the best thing that we can do is we can manage invasive plants. So you will only see words like manage instead of eradication on any of our publications that we do. So we were awarded it last year. It does take a little bit of time to get all the signatures in place once the award has been given from the state. So we were able to start spending money a little bit after we were actually awarded the IPG grant, which is an invasive plant grant. So with the invasive plant, we did have to identify target invasive grasses and plants that we were looking to manage. The first one, like I talked about, was buffalo grass. Buffalo grass burns hotter, it burns longer, and it was brought here as erosion control from the state. So we are trying to correct some of our history and get that management down. The next one is stinknet. Everyone is probably very familiar with stinknet. It's the nice plant with the yellow bulb and has a very pungent odor to it, as its name suggests. This is an extremely aggressive plant. It can take over and create a monoculture, which then outcompetes every other native plant through water resources and soil depletion. And the third one is fountain grass, and fountain grass is part of the same family as buffalo grass is. So you're looking at a plant that burns hotter, it burns longer, and it's able to take over an area the same way that buffalo grass and stinknet does. Most of our parks do have buffalo grass and stinknet, and then on the right-of-ways, you're going to see more fountain grass. For some reason, they like corners of the roads, so you're going to see that more at your public roadways. So I did want to talk a little bit about this past year and what we have treated. So you have two photos. The one on your left was a treatment plan for stinknet. So the green was one of our first go-arounds for trying to manage stinknet, and then the red was the most recent management that we did, an extension to the green plot. Both of those areas, what we did was we essentially mowed the area to try to get rid of some of the dead stinknet. Stinknet only comes up once, so we're really just worried about some of the seeds on it. And then we came in with a granular pre-emergent. And so we've been spreading that every couple months in hopes that rain does come and it's able to be absorbed and essentially sterilize the seed pod itself so that the stinknet doesn't come back. In the right-hand photo, I'm sorry that it's a little harder to see, but you have a red box, and then you also have a very, very faint purple box. So this whole area was done with manual polling this winter. Yes, thank you, Liz. No, you're good. So the red box on top is what we've had volunteer groups polling this whole season. So they go out there little by little and they pull everything, including the route. And we have pretty much managed that entire area just by manual polling. The area with the purple just south of the trail, we pulled 2 years ago. We were very vigilant in making sure we got the entire route system out. And if you walk down Old Mine Trail and you look to the south, you shouldn't see any buffalo grass. And that is a direct result of polling in the proper way and making sure you get that entire route system out. So it is very impressive to see how much work we've accomplished and also the result 2 years later that we're not seeing a whole lot just south of the trail.
Elliot,
Yeah,
can I clarify? Is this Silly Mountain that all of that is Silly Mountain that we were looking
correct.
at? Okay.
My apologies.
No, that's
so the invasive plant grant mostly covered Silly Mountain. So all the work that we do is either on Silly Mountain or it's on a right-of-way road that has been established as a place that we can treat using grant money. But all the open spaces that we're doing is going to be part of Silly Mountain
Okay.
through the
Thank
grant. We do also manage stink net areas at Prospector Park and some of our other parks, but that is not part of this grant. That is just part of our regular maintenance work that we do at those parks. Thank you for that clarification. So big portion of this is trying to get volunteers to help out. So this winter, we did about 104 hours of volunteers. They do 2-hour stints because we don't want them out there too long. And the federal labor department values each volunteer at $31 an hour. So through that, we were able to save $3,224, which is really nice because for every time that we have volunteer hours, we're able to unlock certain parts of the grant. So it's a 10% match to unlock things. So with that, you're able to unlock about $30,000 worth of the grant to be able to use. So it was very beneficial for us to have that many hours with our volunteer groups. We were pulling the first Saturday of every month, and beyond that, we also had groups show interest in coming out and helping with natural resource management. So this winter, we had the Meridian Ward, the Goldfield Ward, and we had PAC 380, which is a Cub Scout group, come out, and they did do service pull days as well, which was really nice to see all of them out there, especially PAC 380, because getting the youth involved in anything outside always gets me very excited. So part of the grant also is for contracted work. So we have two major contractors that we'll be using, Davy Resource Group and Siphon Draws. So I know that last year we were very excited to talk about the drone applications that we were going to be doing for invasive plant management. We need rain to deploy the drone. So sadly, we were only able to do one deployment last year. And then after the deployment, we did not see a lot of rain. So because of that, we were not able to really gauge the effectiveness of what our prescription was for it. The hope is that this summer we're going to get rain. It does sound like we're supposed to get rain this summer. So we'll do a deployment again of that drone to get to those harder to reach areas and hope that the management plan and prescription works for that. We also contracted with Siphon Draw Fire and Fuel. They are a labor contract. So they are doing a lot of our right-of-ways. They're also going to do part of the east side of Silly Mountain and do manually pulling. The nice thing is when Siphon Draw comes out, the majority of the time they pull and they bag it out so that there's no residual plant left. When we do regular pulls, we pull the plant, and if there's no seed head on it, we leave it there with a rock on top so it can't replant itself, and the biofuel is greatly reduced that way. So that's kind of the work that our two contracted groups are going to do this upcoming year and what they've been doing the previous year. So education and outreach. We've been trying to tackle this in many different ways. So the first two photos that you see are some of our print that we have done. We have little postcards that have information about the importance of understanding invasive plants and how to basically identify it. Then underneath that is a digital flyer. On the website that we have set up, if you go to apachejunction.az.gov/invasives, there's a whole bunch of different things you can click on, and it's very specific information about different areas of invasives, and each one of those pages will look like the one that says bufflegrass. The second photo there is some of the videos that we have been making. So the second one is a video on understanding the difference between pre and post-emergent. And then the last is our door hangers. So this is going to be a partnership between us and code enforcement. So anytime code enforcement goes out to the community, if they see invasive plants in a yard, they're able to put a door hanger on as well with that warning or whatever action sticker they have. That just reminds them that an invasive has been found on their property and ways to management and other resources they can use to be able to do that.
Is there a list of the chemical products that can be used on that?
We do not list like chemical products on the sheet itself, but if they do go to the web page, it does list some of the broad spectrums that they can use for it. There's also contact information, so I have been contacted by multiple community members just about what best works for their property, because the prescription plan that's given out really depends on what you want to do with your yard and also how big your yard is. So we don't want to give out one prescription plan knowing that yards differ in so many different ways. So we do try to give those resources so they can see what best fits. So that is some of the education and outreach that we've done this year. And then the big thing that we're going to be tackling in the future is really getting our volunteer base going. The volunteers are what's going to sustain this program beyond the 3 years that the grant has sustained us for. So we're really going to want to get those church, those youth groups, those community outreach groups going. Family events like the first Saturday pulls, we want to make sure that those go, and we want to develop that sustainable volunteer stewardship program where we have community members who go out, they monitor, they find where the new ones are, and then they're also the ones who are able to supervise invasive plant pulls as well. So we're able to do more throughout our community just beyond Silly Mountain as well. That really concludes everything for invasive plants as far as what we've done in the last 365 days. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them now.
I know that you were sad because there was no rain to use the drone, but because there was no rain, do you think that perhaps there will be less of those?
It's already shown that we have a lot less stink net.
Okay.
Bufflegrass goes into a dormant state, so it doesn't really affect bufflegrass too much. But the stink net we've seen significant decrease in. The unfortunate part is that stink net seed lasts about 5 years. So if we get a drought for 1 year, it doesn't do much because they can just come back next year. But it's a great opportunity for anyone to catch up with yard work to try to manage some of those seed pods to get them out of their yard or out of public spaces. So we have been fortunate enough to be able to catch up on that a little bit.
As you mentioned, we aren't going to see it eradicated in our lifetime, or maybe ever.
It's sad.
So, yeah. But with management that you're doing, is permanent education signage going to be a part of the plan? So just as like on the botanical walk, we have little identification signs for our native plants. Is that something that we're considering on the trails of Silly Mountain?
Interpretive signage is a great tool to be able to use for it. We are looking at doing interpretive signage for invasive plants. One of the things that we're working on is a grant with the Desert Botanical Garden. It's got education material on a sign, and then underneath it is a boot brush. So people are able to scrape their boots to try to remove the seeds from the park, so you're not transferring seeds from one park to another, and that would probably be a really good thing. So we're just waiting to hear back if that grant was accepted.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. Next, we have new business. We're going to have a presentation and introduction of the Youth Advisory Council from Jody. You look surprised. I was like, oh, no.
Oh, no. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
All right. So I am coordinator of senior services and youth programs, Jody Dutra. So I also oversee Youth Advisory Council in my role. I have been with the Youth Advisory Council for about 4 years, but now am newly coordinator overseeing it. So the Youth Advisory Council, I should have asked, but was started per request of our city council under Parks and Rec with JJ Underwood. So it has been around for quite a bit of time now, but essentially through the Youth Advisory Council, it was created in order to give a youth perspective to our city council. Through this group, they do also get the opportunity to learn more about government, how the city operates. We do a lot of volunteering for the city as well and with local organizations. Sorry, I'm like always adjusting this. And we also do try to cater to their interests as well. Try to figure out what they want to learn more about academically, other resources within the city, try to develop their leadership skills and things like that. So I am going to we have a few of them here today. Oh, they're right behind me. So they're going to introduce themselves, and then they're going to help me go through the presentation of our year in review with you guys.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I am a senior at Apache Junction High School. I've been a part of the Youth Advisory Council for 8 months now. I originally joined because I needed community service hours, but then I actually kind of fell in love with the group, so I stuck around.
Hi, my name is Oscar. I'm kind of new in this club. I did the same. I just wanted to complete my service hours, but I did really like it. I saw what they were doing, and I really liked the job that they were doing, so I decided to stay here.
My name is Natalie. I'm a senior in high school as well, and I joined YAC last year, 2024. And I joined it because I just wanted to try something new, and now I have really good times and memories in this club. Yeah.
And just a refresher, this is open to freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors? 8th through 12th. Oh, 8th, okay. Nice.
Oh. And so they either have to go to school in AJ or live in AJ.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so just some contents of what we're going to go over real quick. So on our council, we do run it essentially like a city council. So we have the board members. So Jay is our president, AJ is our vice president, Maria over here is our treasurer, Jasmine, who's here today, is our secretary, and Devin is our PIO. And they do vote in the board members like they would on a regular council as well. And then this year we did reach up to 13 members, so that's the group down here. And we have, so Oscar's a newer member, so he added to the group as well. And we have had another one who has come to occasional meetings and events as well. These are just some random photos of a couple of things we've done. So a few of them did attend the State of the City. These are our new shirts that we got for the year. We did a meeting over at Painted Sky Park, I think this was around Thanksgiving, so they wanted to do a little potluck Thanksgiving together, and then just some team bonding over here. All right, and then Jasmine is gonna tell you guys a bit about the AZ League of Cities and Towns that they attended.
So we went to the cities and towns, and we got to present the flag of Apache Junction. So that was really fun. We got to do a whole bunch of group projects. So we were set in a group with like other cities, like members like us that do the same thing with volunteering. And we had to learn problem solve and think of new ideas for different issues going on in Arizona. So that was very fun. I did present the flag, so this is my first year and I was very excited to do that.
Jasmine, did you see any common thread of concern with all the other groups from other cities?
We're mainly worried about all the homeless people around that we see, and more of like heat issues for during the summer with parks and stuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and then earlier in the year, they attended the Florence Teen Leadership Symposium. So this was the first time Florence Teen Council created kind of their own council retreat. So a little bit similar to the AZ League of Cities and Towns, but it was just for teen councils. This was an all-day event, and so as they attended, they did do breakout sessions as well. Food was provided. Many different council members, government workers, and speakers did go as well. And so it was a smaller attendance, but that was a good one. All right, and then so far through the year, we have been able to go on many different tours, different campuses, different departments. The examples we have up here are at Central Arizona College. We got to attend after they put up the new health administrative buildings. We did go to ASU and the fire department, and then I'm going to let them come back up here to tell them more about their experiences about what we did on the tours.
So I went to our CAC tour, and they have made, was it 2 buildings or 3 new buildings? We got to tour their original buildings, and then they also added 3 more buildings within this past year, so we got to go around and check those out. We sat with one of the head people, and she talked to us about the amount it could cost, but we also have the Pinal Promise, so she went over that a little bit as well. But yeah, they're doing a lot of new programming. They have a new art program. They have like a new little hangout that they built, and then new healthing programs that you can join as well. So it's very fun to see that, especially because I want to go into health. So viewing that gave me another idea of a school I can go to.
I went to the ASU tour. We toured the Watts campus, named after 2 people who donated over $30 million to the campus. So that was pretty shocking to hear. We did tour the campus, and it was very interesting. It was so nice, and it was like really pretty. And after that, we sat down and we had a speech by Dr. Legg. He gave us a little motivational speech about how he got into Parks and Rec and how he made it into his own lifestyle. So that was really interesting. Some of the programs that they offered there was Parks and Rec and social work, which were the 2 main ones they talked about. They were really interesting. And yeah, that was it. It was really fun. And they gave us pizza afterwards.
So I went to the fire department tour. It was really nice. They show us the place. It's literally like a home. They have a kitchen, beds. Everybody has their own room. They tell us how they work. So they go for, I think, 2 days, 48 hours, and then they leave, and the next team comes by, and that's how they work. It was nice because they talked to us about, for example, they being a tiny space, a tiny group. They don't have to think of a lot like bigger fire departments that they have to like send specific people and assign them to things. They just go straight up as soon as they hear, and they try to do as soon as possible. I think the record was 2 minutes. Well, it was. They usually try to keep an average of like 6 minutes. Yeah, 6 minutes. I think the faster it was like 2 minutes, but it was really nice. They show us the trucks. They let us get inside. It was really nice.
And the fire department.
Because I didn't understand anything.
The fire department was where, in AJ or
Yeah,
which station?
263 on Idaho and 16.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a really nice experience.
Yeah, so and what Oscar was saying, so essentially all of the fire departments in Arizona are almost like one giant fire department. So whoever is closest to the fire, that's who goes and helps, or not just a fire, but any emergency. All right, so then again, we do a lot of volunteering. So every year the group does help out with Make a Difference Day. Normally they do help out and do their part at Flatiron with updating the wall, filling in anything else that needs to be painted. They help out with a lot of city events, so they helped out with the mud run this year and helped host one of the obstacles, cheering on the spectators and the runners. Halloween event, they volunteer for every year and have done the trunk or treat for about the last 2 or 3 years. So they do get together. That's a lot of fun. They go and make all of their decorations. So for this past year, it was Tim Burton themed, and then a couple of them do staff it and then participate in the trunk or treat. And they do help out with the holiday event as well, Candy Cane Lane. You'll see Frank down here. So he helped us out with that as well. Essentially, Candy Cane Lane is just another component of the holiday event. They all line up down there. It's all decorated, holiday decorations, and they hand out the candy canes. And just a little bit of extras, and we don't even have everything in this presentation, but we do a lot of outreach. So over here, we attended the Apache Trail High School fall event. Over here is meeting with Liz. So we do have guests in our meetings as well. So for this one specifically, Liz came and talked to them about our Parks and Rec strategic plan. Brock with Economic Development also attended and talked to them about what he does with economic development and tourism. We do have a social twice a year. So we've had our winter social. We let them pick what they want to do. It's a good way to not only celebrate what they've done so far throughout the year, but it's a good way for them to bond and team build. Again, there's Make a Difference Day. With our meetings, so essentially we tried to mix up our meetings and create something for them to look forward to. So normally we've kind of gone away from just having meetings at the MGC, formal meetings. We'll usually switch it up and maybe go to a public park. That way they can see what parks we have available throughout the city, as well as this is when we go on our tours such as CAC, the fire station, and other departments. That's just a cute little pic when we went to ASU. They love to eat, as everyone does. So we usually have an incentive of getting a treat or food on any outings or after meetings. And then that's just another picture from CAC. And Jasmine's going to tell you a little bit about our upcoming event this Friday.
So this Friday, we're having a movie night at the park for bridging communities. So we're trying to build, to bring our communities together because we're building the new part of Apache Junction, and we're wanting that to combine with the part we have now. We have SRP who's sponsoring the movie. We're watching Despicable Me 4. We're going to have food like pizza. We're going to have raffles and prizes. And we also have other people coming out. So we have Blossom Beans and their coffee. And we have the public library. We have the police cadets. So yeah, we're just having everybody come out. We want everyone to come support. It's completely free, so bring your family and any little ones if they like watching movies.
And this is located at Apache Trail.
So it's actually going to be at Rough Ranch Dog Park over at Blossom Rock.
Okay.
All right, and that's it. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Go ahead.
Okay. I just think it's amazing that you guys are part of this council and being introduced to a form of city government early on, and you should be really proud of yourselves for doing what you're doing. When I had to interview for the commission, I had to remind myself, don't black out up there, breathe at the podium. So it's very intimidating. So just proud of you guys, and you should be proud of yourself too. And my one question for all three of you that are here is, so you said why you started in YAC, but what's your main reason for continuing? No pressure. Or what keeps you like coming back? Whatever it is, no wrong answers.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. Sometimes we have speakers or we have guests coming in, and they get to tell us a little more about, well, learning more about the city and getting to know a few people and places that I never knew were in this city until I started doing this. I found it really interesting, and also just spending time with my friends and the people in the club. It's fun. So that's kind of what keeps me coming too.
All right, thanks.
I just like getting out of the house. So we do a lot of community things, and that's out of the house. So I do really like it. And then I've got to meet a lot of people. And like she said, I've learned a lot of things that I wouldn't, and a lot of new places that I wouldn't have known about if I wasn't a part of this group. So that's what keeps me coming back. I also have quite a few friends in this group. So
Great.
So the reason I keep coming here more than just because I want to be with my friends, obviously, is just I really like the sensation of being in a community. Where I used to live, we didn't have this thing. It was like you go to your house and you don't talk to your neighbors or something like that more than once a year in Christmas. But here, I just get to see a lot of people and get to know more about AJ, which I couldn't before. Like, it's been like 3 years and I didn't know. Like she say, there was many places I didn't know they were here, many parks and stuff. I really liked it, so I keep coming.
Are you all AJ students, or are there charter school? Is any of the charter schools involved?
we're all a part of the Apache Junction High School currently.
Okay.
And so Judy, really quickly, we do outreach to all the groups. So some years we have members from Imagine Prep and some of the different ones. Right now, they're mostly all from Apache Junction High School.
So you guys said the mutual concern with everybody is the homeless and the heat. So I would offer to you guys, if you ever want to sit down and find out some information, I'm more than happy to set some time with you guys and let you know the agencies that are out here, what we do for the homeless, what we do for the heat, and it'd be super great if you guys had some ideas.
That'd be very much appreciated.
All right. Yeah, if you want to send me the information later, Cheryl. I can
You
look
got
into
my
that.
number.
Actually, I don't have your number, but I'll see you, yeah. All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
That's me, sorry. Thank you very much. Now, presentation and discussion on Painted Sky Park's lake and fishing programs by Elliot.
Give me 1 second, guys. Once again, Elliot Anuda. I've got it. Recreation Coordinator for Outdoor Programs and Natural Resources. All right. Some of those are very good photos. The middle one is Jamie in her natural element. I am coming up on 4 years with the city, and Jamie's definitely happy about so much stuff, but that was pure joy right there. That whole day, I think she was like hoarding worms so that she could just keep putting them on people's hooks. And the first photo is actually Christy's son fishing at Painted Sky Park. So we've definitely had some team members enjoy the park as well as community members. So I first just want to give a little bit of background on Painted Sky Park. So the original plan actually didn't call for having fish in the pond. They did decide that it was the best option. It's good for lake health. It's also good for community engagement. So the type of fish that they decided to put in there was going to be largemouth bass, bluegill, and channel catfish. They did an initial stocking last spring, and that was 20,000 fathead minnows. That's mostly for lake health and for some snacks for the other fish. 1,000 catfish, 2,000 bluegill, and 200 bass. Then in the fall, we did another stocking, and that was 500 catfish, 100 bluegill, and 250 bass. The second stocking was a larger fish, as at that point, the lake health was a little better, so we were able to support larger fish. Big questions that we get are what is the size of the lake. So I did write those down for you guys. The lake itself is 2.1 acres, and the volume is 6,114,000 gallons. So just to give you an idea, in the aquatic center, we're just shy of like 500,000 gallons. So if you haven't been down to Painted Sky or anything like that, but you have been to the pool, that gives you kind of a little bit of an idea of how big it is. And the depth, it does go to 15 feet. And then I also wanted to mention the aeration turnover rate, which is 8 times per day. That's extremely important for lake health. We have to get air in there for the fish, also so that algae doesn't start growing. So that means that every piece of that water gets turned 8 times a day, which is very healthy for the lake. We right now are not the ones doing the full management of the lake. We have contracted to Arizona Lake and Pond Management for maintenance. So they're the ones who go out there. They do weekly readings of the levels of phosphate, of nitrogen, fish health, depth, all of that stuff to make sure that the lake is doing well and that we don't see algae blooms. So one of the big things that we wanted to make sure that we did when we had this lake is fishing education. So we have started monthly programs. So on the 3rd Friday and Saturday of each month, we go out to the lake, and the whole idea is just community engagement. We bring out fishing poles, we bring out tackle boxes, we bring out worms, and any community member that wants to fish, they are allowed to check it out free of cost so that they can see if it's the right fit for them. There are some stipulations that are attached to it, though. So in the state of Arizona, if you're 10 years or older, you must have a fishing license, or if you are designated as legally blind, you do not need to have one. So those 9 and younger or legally blind do not have to hold a fishing license in the state of Arizona. We do also do education on how to buy a fishing license. So almost every type of item that I bring out that I have made has a QR code directly linked to Arizona Game and Fish on how to purchase a fishing license. So they have many different avenues for being able to do it. Another big thing that we do is our hook swap. So there are specific types of hooks that are required. Oh, Jamie's got some stuff. So what she's like handing out to all of you guys is what I like to call some of our trading cards. So the 3 fish that we have in the lake, if a child or adult does catch one of the fish, we give them one of the trading cards. It has really cool facts about the fish on the back of it, as well as a QR code to buy a fishing license if they do not already have one and they need to be in compliance with the state. And then we also offer tutorials on how to fish. So for a lot of community members, this might be their first time. Their parents may not have been exposed to it either. So the nice thing is they're able to come to us and we're able to show them some basic tips on how to start fishing and how to have a good time while you do it. The 3 photos that you see are printed media, or sorry, the 2 smaller photos are the printed media that we do have available to the community. The first one is our rack card. It does just give basic information of what's in the lake, some of the rules and regulations, as well as how to buy a fishing license. The other one you might see are our yard signs that are actually at Painted Sky Park. It just reminds the community of what's in the lake, some of the regulations, and also how to buy a fishing license. All right, so with that being said, there are future plans already to do a little bit of a switch up. So this has been a learning opportunity for the city. This is our first lake. So we are looking at what might be a better fish to put in the lake. So we will be keeping the bluegill in, but we will add red ear and we'll also add grass carp. We'll still have bass in there. We'll still have catfish, but the main stocking will be the grass carp, the red ear, and the bluegill. In addition to adding that to the lake, we're also going to be adding phytoplankton and fish habitats. So what you see at the top photo is made out of PVC. They are placed at the bottom of the lake, and it acts as a habitat for some of the smaller fish. So in order for them to get larger, they have to make sure they are not eaten by the other fish. So that does create that nice, safe habitat for them to be able to survive. And then the phytoplankton is the healthier bacteria that we need in our lake in order for our fish to eat and the lake health to remain balanced. Some of the other things that we wanted to talk about with you guys is some of the programs that we've already had and some of our future plans for the lake. So past events was our Painted Sky grand opening, where we did offer free fishing to any community member that came up. And then just recently, the photo that I showed you guys at the very beginning was at our Painted Sky Bubbles and Brews event. We brought out fishing bowls, we brought out bait, we brought out everything that community members need. And so that first photo that you guys see is part of that program. So we set up 5 different stations. So as soon as one became available, another community member can come up and try fishing. And the entire day, that event was from 12 to noon, or 12 to 4, sorry. And it was constantly full the entire time. We actually ran out of worms and had to go buy more, which is a very exciting thing to be able to do, because at some of my previous ones, I've had extra worms that we have to give out. So very excited to run out of worms. We've also, like I said, been doing fishing education. Future programs for us. So in the summer, it gets hot. I still want to get outside. I still want to get to that lake. So we are going to be doing glow fishing. So they do make bobbers that glow in the dark. We'll bring out a whole bunch of other fun stuff, and community members will be able to fish at night when it's dark and a little bit cooler. We also have Fishing Fridays. That is going to be a small competition for community members to get in on. So they'll be able to, it's a catch and release pond, but they will be able to catch, measure, put it back in the pond. We'll have like biggest fish, best named fish, most caught fish in a single session. So we'll have that going through the 3 months in the summer for any community member to be part of, and there will be age groups for that. In the fall, we will be partnering with the police department for something called Cops and Bobbers. And so this is going to be an opportunity for our police department to interact with the community on a more social level, while also engaging in a fun activity like fishing. And then another important one is going to be aquatic life education. So we will offer specific classes on aquatic life, so people understand how to balance a lake, fish tanks, the fish in our lakes, the fish in Arizona, everything that you'd really want to know about outdoor fishing will be brought to them either at the MGC or on site at Painted Sky Park. The last thing is our loaner fishing pole program. So like I said, anytime that we're out at Painted Sky, we do try to bring out poles, tackle boxes, and bait so that anyone that wants to try to fish can. As of right now, we have 12 loaners. So first 12 to come to any of our events really get to fish. I don't put a time limit on it as of right now. So if they do want to fish for the entire 2 hours with their family, they're more than welcome to. If it does become too busy, then we will do a proper check-in, check-out for a specific time length. But as of right now, those amount of polls seem to be working well for the community. With that, do you guys have any questions?
What's your average attendance on these Friday and Saturday things?
It depends. So as far as like attendance goes, there's 2 different categories that I'm really counting. So the first one is community contacts. So that's going to be how many people I've been able to talk to and educate them on rules and regulations from Game and Fish. And from that, usually it's between like 30 and 50 people that I'm able to communicate with. As far as the loaner program goes, that is fairly new. The last time that I did it, I brought out 6 poles and they were used the entire time. Most siblings did have to share. So the attendance on that was more around like 10 for that, but that's 10 new community members that have been able to learn how to fish, and that's very exciting.
Is Fish and Game going to be more involved, or are they letting you do all of the education portion of it?
Right now, City of Apache Junction is taking the lead on the education portion of it. They have great resources. If they did want to come out, we'd be more than happy to host them. But as of right now, we're really taking the lead on a lot of it, but we have defaulted to all of their rules and regulations. So if you go to a lake in AJ or Mesa or Peoria, you should see all uniformed regulations.
Elliot, are we thinking of any other activities besides fishing with the lakes? I'm thinking remote-controlled boats, that sort of thing.
RC boats are allowed on the lake. So I have not given much thought into a program like that, but I think that's a great idea. I think that it taps into a different demographic to be able to utilize that lake. So I will definitely look into that. yeah, it is a very good idea. Thank you, Frank.
For us, because there's casualties, what happens, or is there a time frame or anything where we can kind of clean out any floaters in the lake?
Yes, so Pond and Lake Management, who is our contractor for that, they're the ones who do that. And like I said, they're there every week.
Every week.
So we do get that nice weekly clean of any of the fish that may have ran their lifespan. But the nice thing is that our lake is very healthy, and they're managing the phosphorus and nitrogen levels, which are the main contributor to fish death in man-made lakes.
Is that a forever contract, or is it eventually the city's going to take it over?
That's a good question for Liz.
So we contract with Blossom Rock. So we have an agreement with Blossom Rock Community Alliance, and they contract the different maintenance companies. So as of right now, it's our contracts are for a year at a time, and it goes out for regular public bid, all the types of things that we've done before, or we use cooperatives that are out there. So
But eventually it could come to fall on the city taking care of, or there'll always be somebody
it's not
out
very
there to
likely
do
that
it.
we'll be doing lake. So you have to have a really big background on lake management. And so every city that we talked with, they contract somebody, and there's several different vendors that are out there. Yeah. Basic cleaning, cleaning out debris, those kinds of
Yeah,
things.
it's not like cleaning a pool, right?
Yeah, right. So, but for the actual maintenance of the management of the lake and chemistry and all that, we'll always be contracting out with somebody.
Thank you.
Congrats on almost 4 years with the city.
Thank you.
You've been a great addition. I love all the programming you bring. My question is, will the lake, so I know that Blossom Rocks, I believe it's like their community center that they're building there on the lake edge, north side. Will the lake be accessible to like the entire circumference, or will they have an area that's private on that end?
So we thought it was going to be all the way around. It looks like it's not, but honestly, we won't know until we can definitely ask again there might be a little stretch that does get through the main opening, but it's really hard to tell right now. So I've heard 2 different stories on it.
Okay.
So we don't know right now. We can definitely look into it for you. I keep meaning to ask, and I keep forgetting.
Okay.
That's our intent. Any future lake we do, that will be a requirement.
Yes.
But we were kind of disappointed to learn that it wasn't a full connection all the way around, but it is connected to their private community center, which is just part of the agreement there on that property.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this is something we can still possibly influence, or the decision is made.
No, there's a decision that's made and a plan in place. So I'll find out for you guys and let you know. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Liz.
Any other questions?
Thank you again.
No. Great job. Thank you. Ooh, nice. Nice round of applause. Yes. We have the intern, Lauren Powell, will present and discuss adaptive recreation programming.
So I would like to introduce at this time Lauren Powell to come on up. We have been very fortunate to have an intern. Lauren has come to us from ASU. Forks up. Go Devils. Lauren has been really integrated in all the parts of Parks and Recreation. We've included her in parks meetings. She's been at special events. She's been at the Multi-Gen Center. She's kind of been very quickly immersed in everything we do, but Lauren's passion really is on the adaptive side of recreation, and she really got to experience some of that when she was working with City of Mesa. And so what she's kind of bringing to us tonight is kind of some of her vision of, as we grow and as our needs grow, how can we add adaptive programming to what we already have? And as I mentioned, as we grow and perhaps our needs grow, what other programming possibilities are out there? So currently we do requests for modifications. All of our buildings are ADA compliant and even more so over the top. We try to immerse and integrate in all of our programs, but Lauren has been researching and looking into, if you were at Dino Days, you're going to talk about that, right? Yeah, you will have gotten to experience her first addition to our programs and sharing what we have coming up for Easter, and then long-term, what some options might be for us. So Lauren, take it over.
Thank you, Jamie. Hello, Commission. I am Lauren Powell. Tonight I am doing my presentation on adaptive recreation and the importance of inclusive communities. So to define adaptive recreation, it basically means just allowing more opportunities for all people to be involved in recreation. It improves the quality of life, physical, mental, and behavioral health of the participants. And we can also gain a different perspective of how individuals recreate through their different abilities. The main differences adaptive recreation uses is its staff that are trained to interact and work with people with disabilities, as well as having adaptive equipment or modifying our practices to allocate for our participants. And then to give you an idea of what that looks like for other cities, they have, or some have, specific adaptive recreation departments with dedicated staff in that area. So a little bit more about my background. Like Jamie said, I began working for the City of Mesa in 2021. I started with their summer program, Camp Fiesta, which is for individuals ages 4 to 22. So like you can see in some of these pictures, we're doing music therapy with, I'm in the orange shirt, which is an opportunity for the individuals to interact while also listening to music. And then we have ice skating and pickleball. And I really fell in love with Parks and Recreation because of this opportunity of working with Mesa's Camp Fiesta. Right now I'm doing my internship with the City of Apache Junction, and I am getting my bachelor's degree in Parks, Recreation, and Sports Management in May 2025. So some goals and objectives for my internship were to learn more about integrating smaller elements of adaptive recreation into events that we already hold here in Apache Junction, as well as understanding the city's programs and demographics now and how that will change as the city progresses and grows. So one of my ideas to implement adaptive recreation was at Dino Days. So we had a barricaded area that was a sensory booth for individuals with sensory processing needs. And in that booth, we had an area that was specific for sensory bins. And sensory bins provide a hands-on and tactile way to explore their senses in a fun and comfortable way.
That was very popular.
Oh, yeah.
That really had a long line to it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Our first comment on the Facebook page, I believe, was that they enjoyed the sensory bin. So that was really great to hear and a big motivation to me. So with the sensory bins, we had sensory sand that was made out of cocoa powder, baking soda, and water. So it's a touch sensory as well as a smell sensory while they're playing. Rice with food coloring, beans for like rocks, eucalyptus and bay leaves, and then egg cartons. I painted as volcanoes, and then dinosaur toys, and they got to also take those sensory bins home. And then in another area, we had digging for dinosaurs in the sand with molds that they could use to make dinosaur fossils. And then we had a stamping table, so they could paint the dinosaur footprint and then make a stamp on the piece of paper. And then some other sensory elements I included were sensory tiles, so they're little boards with different textures and materials that they can play with, as well as streamers on the barricades, so they can, not only is it inviting and fun to see that, but they also can run through it and have a touch sensory as well. And then we also included bubbles and fidget toys. And then also,
we had signage that stated, "The Dino Den, this area is designated for individuals with sensory processing needs," just so we could kind of gain traction for that demographic. And yeah, like I said, we had some great feedback, so. Next up, we have the adaptive Easter egg hunt. So right now we are in the stages of finalizing ideas and strategies to cater towards people with disabilities. I researched with Tucson, Surprise, Butler County, Pennsylvania, Lake Jackson, Texas, and Rockwall, Texas, to kind of gain an idea of what they do for their adaptive Easter events. So for ours, we will be having them, or having it on at the same time as the other Easter egg event, but it will be at the end of the event to kind of help with crowd control and that overstimulating factor. On the infield of the baseball field, we will have an area specific for people with mobility needs. So if someone is in a walker or a wheelchair, we will have cones and tables set up at different heights with the eggs laid on top of them so they are able to collect their eggs more accessibly. And then in the outfield, we will have two separate areas. One where we have beeping eggs that are for people who have visual impairments, so they can hear the eggs and collect them that way. And then on the other side of the field, we will have it more for cognitive disabilities, so like autism and other things on that spectrum, which we will have a green piece of paper and a red piece of paper to signify when the egg hunt is starting, rather than that loud noise or a overstimulating sound to keep it calm. In the future, I could see this growing into its own event, and I'm excited to see who is coming to kind of gain more of an idea of what that could look like for the future in Apache Junction. Okay, so as I continue, I'm going to talk about the adaptive program recommendations that I would recommend. So I would start with sports programs. So working with Special Olympics, they have many opportunities for different sports like golf, soccer, basketball, swim, pickleball, track, cheerleading, bowling, floor hockey, and bocce ball. I have personally seen the success in the lives of these individuals who go and play sports. They are able to make special bonds and friendships with one another as well as their staff. They also learn to work through emotions and behaviors in a safe and fun environment that is inclusive to their disability. They can also grow new skills that able-bodied individuals are typically offered. For aquatics, this April Pools Day, I will have another small sensory bin that is an opportunity for the community to understand the small ways of adaptive recreation and sensory play. For outdoor recreation, I would recommend going on hikes to Silly Mountain. This is a great way and simple way to get the community together, and it is also a good hike for this demographic. And then fishing with the park rangers is an idea that I have already experienced before at Mesa. We can meet at Painted Sky Park with our outdoor rec crew and park rangers with fishing poles, bait, and then snacks and water for the participants. And then for adult programs, for individuals with disabilities, it can be hard to get out, recreate, and interact with one another. So having a designed and designated night for adults with disabilities to get together and spend time with one another is very beneficial for their overall health. So once every 3 months, the adult program can get together to do an activity. I was thinking with the season, so like ice skating during the winter, pumpkin patches during the fall, and then a sensory-friendly fireworks show during the summer. And then another idea for adult programs could be disability-friendly cooking classes. So creating the opportunity for individuals with disabilities to grow their personal strengths gives them
the power and self-advocacy to do things on their own. And then to wrap up, my swim team proposal is one thing that I've been working on during my internship. So working for Mesa Swim Team was one of the most special moments in my time with Mesa. I started by researching with Goodyear's Adaptive Recreation Coordinator on budget, staffing, and equipment. And how we would do this is through Special Olympics offers competitions, swim meets, as well as schedule, trainings, drills, and expectations for the coaches and swimmers. And then Angelfish is another program that offers trainings for coaching individuals with disabilities on how to swim. So one of my favorite things about swim was being able to see the participants and their interaction with their families. So there was a couple of instances where you could see that they had younger siblings that were looking up to them and their example, and looking at them for all their hard work and their achievements in what they did. So the community within adaptive recreation is always positive, inclusive, and welcoming. I think that it would be a great addition to Apache Junction in future years. And that is all I have for you. Any questions?
I got a couple questions. How would you compare Mesa to AJ with the percentage of people with sensory disorders?
So looking at the census, I saw that, well, Apache Junction has a much smaller population, so it is kind of like harder to tell.
Hard to compare it. I get that.
Yeah.
Have you noticed like an increase over the last few? Because I'm hearing a lot more and more often with sensory disorders.
So
Have you
I
noticed an increase in it?
Yeah, so I think that this is becoming a greater trend for many different cities because they've seen the importance and how well it goes for these individuals. So yeah, I would say there's a big
Yeah, it is a very important. A lot of people don't understand sensory disorders until they experience it, or know somebody with it. And this is awesome what you're doing.
Thank you.
And my second question is, because I haven't seen anything about this adaptive things like for the Easter egg hunt and the April Fool's Day. How is that being advertised?
So the adaptive Easter egg hunt is being advertised along with the Easter egg hunt. So they're going to include the time frame with the Easter egg hunt. So
Maybe I just haven't come across it then yet.
Yeah, I think I saw it on the Facebook event.
So
It
we
was
did
listed.
advertise the sensory area at Dino Days prior to the event, and we did include it in our Easter egg hunts. We are not highly advertising the Easter egg hunt in general because we don't need to. So if you are saying I don't see a whole lot of advertisements.
No, I mean like for the adaptive one, because I'm sure, this can change people's lives on this, like children that have never been able to participate like in an Easter egg.
So we have always had a variation of an adaptive egg hunt. It has always followed all of the other egg hunts, but it's really just been where they've had more space and more time. Lauren's taken another step to make it to place eggs at different height levels. So if they can't get all the way to the ground, they can still do it on their own to place eggs so we're making it more adaptive friendly, but we've always had the option to have a less intense area for folks that needed it.
Lauren, are you going to be spending till May with Apache Junction? How long are you going to be with us?
I will be here until the beginning of May.
And at that time, or when you're done, are you going to write a report, a synopsis of what you see? Or?
So I do have a video presentation that I will do for my class, talking about everything that I've done.
I'm more concerned about helping us.
Yeah.
But we have, as I've been with the city, I know ASU has helped us in any number of ways through this sort of studies, and it's always appreciated because as much as we think we know, we always know we have more to learn. And people like you are a real key to that, so we really appreciate the time you're spending with us. And I look forward to your report and what you think about us.
Well, I'm glad I could be here.
And just so you know, Lauren has done a full program proposal for swim team, so some things for us to consider for the future. And then all the work that she's doing right now are things that, you know, she will be leaving checklists and notes so that we can continue several of them in the future too. So I think that's a great point as well to make.
Did you want to?
Just really quick.
Go ahead.
For the Dino Days, do you know how many of the sensory bins that you gave out?
So I collected 100 shoe boxes for it, and then I think I left with about like 10, maybe.
And it was because I held her back at the beginning. I said, Lauren, you don't know how many people are going to show up here, so please go one per family. So those boxes initially were given out, one box for each family, and then towards the last half hour, when we knew that we had enough, then she gave them out one per child.
And we ran out of time. So she
Yeah.
would have gotten rid of all of them if it weren't for the fact that it was like 15 minutes after and it was kind of the end of everybody leaving. So
Yeah,
it
but
was
I have
very
a-
successful.
I have a lot of sensory dough left if you want any. So.
I'll take
No,
some
do
for my
not give
girls.
those away because the signage we made was made permanent. So this will be at next year's event as well. So she's leaving some lasting things for us to do.
I'll take some for my girls. This is something that I think is great to have this accessibility for people that have needs seen or unseen, because that's one thing that you don't always see what someone's sensory or you know, challenge is. It might be something that they appear to be typical, but maybe they have some challenges. So I think that's great. And I can see that you have a passion and dedication for this. So that definitely came through. And thank you for what you've done so far for the department. And I selfishly hope that maybe you have a future here with the department. And yeah, I just think it's great that you're bringing in this progressive programming for our city. I am familiar with the city of Mesa, and I know they do a lot of programming. I've seen the hiking and some of the swimming, so
Yeah.
that's great. And an early congrats on your
Thank you so
graduation in
much.
May.
And I won't brag on her, but after she leaves us, she will be spending her summer in Ireland working at a camp for kids who are going through or who have gone through cancer. So she gets to leave us for greener pasture, literally greener pastures. So we're very proud.
Yeah, last thing I want to say is just that it is actually near and dear to my heart for many reasons. So I'd actually, before you conclude your internship, I'd actually love to meet with you and talk to you about some of the things on my radar.
Yeah.
And be able to help us with the future of accessibility here in AJ.
Of course, I would love that.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Well, fantastic. Thank you. Round of applause for you. Thanks so much. Fantastic. All right, we do not have a call to the public.
I don't know if we do.
Do we have a call to the public? No? Okay, all right. I just assumed. I apologize. All right. Commissioners, is there anything that you would like to suggest or recommend being added to the next agenda?
Just before that, we have some CLI students here. Would you stand up, please? CLI, stand up and be recognized. Yeah, thank you. You are our future.
You should count this as 2 meetings if you have to do 2.
Anything that anybody would like to see in our next agenda? Anything follow-up, touch base? All right. So then, may I have a motion for the selection of meeting dates, times, location, and the purpose?
Madam Chair, I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on May 7th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. And may I have roll call?
Felicia Madrid,
Yes.
Judy Bory,
Yes.
Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
DL Kine is excused, Cheryl Bigelow,
Yes.
And Heather Moeller?
Yes.
Okay, and that motion passes.
Thank you. All right, and just a reminder, we need to look at Jamie really quick because the next time we see her, she will be older. And with that, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much, 7:33.